Parents, is it optional or essential?
Coach Crandall,
Yes.
you're hitting me with a burning, perplexing question. Are you talking about chocolate?
Well, we all know chocolate is essential. Like, that's not
Okay.
even a question.
So we're done. We've
Yep, that's it. Shortest episode
It's-
we've had. Chocolate is essential. Thanks for listening.
Oh, okay. Parents, are you sitting down? Are you ready for this one?
I love
Th-
this one.
This is, as you have told me before, this is a heavy one.
This is the one where we walk down to the deep end of the swimming pool and we just jump in. Like, this is, I love this stuff.
Of course you do.
Well, this is the
one
stuff
gets
that
messy.
really
This one
matters.
gets This does really matter, and this one can get messy.
Very. It's
And
uncomfortable.
parents will get out their own boxing gloves and start punching themselves in the face.
Yeah. Because this one gets really uncomfortable because you have to confront your shortcomings, and none of us like to do that. We like to think that we've got it all figured out. Brene Brown talks about how parenting is one of the biggest shame triggers that we have. And so when we look at our parenting, we're like, oh my gosh, I'm falling short. It's visceral. Like it's a gut punch. And so when we get into this topic, this is going to challenge people to have the courage to look at themselves with grace. And yes, that's a courageous thing.
Demonstrate some courage.
Yep. It's a good opportunity to demonstrate some courage because you're going to have to courageously jump into this space and be willing to challenge yourself and really think about some things in a deeper, more meaningful way.
It's probably a good time to remind them that parenting is the hardest job, and there's not a close second.
Yes.
Keep that in mind as we put the boxing gloves down, and let's just see what we can learn with this.
Can I throw one more thing in before we dig into it?
Yeah. Once again, Coach Crandall asking for permission as a co-host.
Hey, just so you know, parents, that's actually a great thing to do with your kids. Ask your kids for permission to ask them questions. Anyway, we can talk more about that later. That might be another episode. I'm not sure if we've talked about the gap and the gain yet. So I'm going to do a 30-second run through on this.
You're going to bring in Dan Sullivan.
Yeah. Gap and gain is really important going into this one, because if we focus on the gap, the space between where we're at now and the ideal, we're going to feel pretty bad. If we focus on the gain, where we've come to from where we were, we feel the progress we've made. You're going to need to focus in the gain so you feel like you've made some progress, which now allows you to turn and look at the gap and be like, okay, now what can I do next? So keep your focus on the progress you've made and the good things you've done, and that will give you courage and energy to move forward as you make progress to your next level.
That was some high quality chocolate right there.
I hope that was 30 seconds. I tried to be fast on the nerd timer.
I didn't set it.
Good. See, you've learned. I'm quick.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
You need to do some explaining, sir.
Yes.
Because going back to the burning question, is it optional or essential?
Yes. We
need to define it.
Well, it can be a lot of things, which is why we went with it, because as we're raising our kids, there's a lot of things that we want to do. And the things we want to do sometimes get done and they sometimes don't get done. Usually if they get done, it's because we look at them as more essential. And so we put a higher priority on it and we really go after it. And so it's understanding that whatever it is for you, if you treat it as essential, it helps make it more possible. Brendan Burchard talks about this in his book, High Performance Habits, as raising necessity. Looking at something as, this is necessary for me this is essential for me to get it done. And what it really gets at is purpose. What's the purpose we have for doing the things that we're doing as a parent? Because it's that purpose. If our purpose is deep and meaningful enough, that drives something to essential. But if that purpose is shallow, where it's not what we think it is, now we start treating it as optional. And that's when we get wishy-washy as a parent.
Heavy stuff.
Yes. Very challenging. I'm super energized and passionate about this because I think this is the kind of thing that if our parents can understand this, how they can work in that space of having the heaviness of something feeling essential, demanding something of yourself, having a really high standard and being committed to living that standard. That's what's going to elevate your parenting to where you want it to go. You've got some great ways of getting into this by talking about this idea of purpose and why. And I'd love for you to share some of those things where we start to help parents kind of unpack this and how to approach it.
You know, I love the practical. We have two practical things. I've used both of these multiple times with clients. They're extremely helpful. And one of them, I'm not sure exactly where to attribute it because I've heard it attributed to many different people. It's
Abraham Lincoln. No, Socrates. It was Socrates that
we
said
always joke about where these come from. This is just, you will find this out there in the world of personal development. And I've heard it as the 3 whys. I've heard it as the 5 whys. And then I've heard somebody one up everybody else. I guess it would be 2 up because he adds 2 to the 5 and says, this is 7 levels deep.
It's interesting to me how they always go odd numbers, though. You rarely will hear it as 2, 4, 6, or 8. That's an odd thing.
7 kind of surprised me because 3 is a real typical thing.
Mm-hmm.
And 5 is also a really good grouping too.
Yes.
But I think you should go as far as you need to go with this. You might get to where you need to be at 3.
I'd challenge you to go one level deeper than you think you need to.
Oh,
at least.
I like that. 1 more.
Mm-hmm.
Max out. Do one more. You're bringing in some Ed Milet now. Do 1 more. So this is how it works. You are
use me as your guinea pig if you want.
Oh, okay. Well, let's just, since this is the Stop Parenting and Start Coaching podcast, by the way, please subscribe on YouTube, which is easy to do. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, we are there, but we really are trying to grow our YouTube channel. And if you don't want to watch us, just listen to us on YouTube. And it's easy to find us because our channel name is also the name of our podcast. So the Stop Parenting, Start Coaching podcast. So let's just start with you as a parent. If you were doing a really fancy slideshow right now and you put up a picture of your beautiful wife and your kids and you said, hey, this is my why.
Got the picture in my mind, ready to roll.
Yeah. So just tell me a little bit about your why to start off this 5 levels deep, 7 levels deep. We probably won't go all the way because this sometimes takes up to an hour. I did this with a client and it completely shifted everything in his whole business. And we were on the whiteboard with this for over an hour. Okay, so back to you as a dad.
Well, I love my kids and my wife, and I want to provide the best possible situation in life for them.
Okay, so you would write this down.
Mm-hmm.
You can do this yourself. You can also do this with a partner. You can do this with your spouse. The next step simply is to say why, to ask why to that statement. And when you first start this, you're just like, well, this is so obvious. It starts changing the deeper you go.
Yeah.
So what did you say? I forgot it all.
So I just said I want to provide, a great life and situation for them because I love them.
So then the question is, why do you want to provide a great life for them?
I want them to be in a situation where they're safe to learn, where they know they've got a safe place, that they have the things that they need in order to go out and explore and become more of who I see them becoming.
Okay, I will tell you, when people give long answers, this will end up taking longer because they're adding in great detail. And I want to mention the fact that you did give a very long answer. That's, to me, that's a good thing.
Thank you.
That's a good thing versus just a short, well, they're my kids.
Right.
So now you have to answer why you have to ask why and then answer to that last thing. Why do you want them to feel this safety? Why do you want them to feel this safe place where they can
Because I
learn?
know that life is really hard, and that for them to achieve the potential that I see in them, they need to have that support. They need to know that I care about them that much, because I do know that life gets hard, and I want them to be the very best that they could be despite all the challenges that are going to come up.
That was not a 3-word answer.
Have I
That was
ever done a 3-word answer?
So then you are going to ask. Now, I can just tell right now, having done this so many times with other people, this is you're going to need to go to 6, 7
Yeah.
levels.
And I want to tie this back to our initial question as well. Is it optional or essential? If I look at this activity as optional, it's not really necessary for me to explore my why. I've got a problem. And as a parent, like, you got to be bold in challenging yourself to really understand and increase your awareness of why you're doing the things you're doing.
I
Why
like
are
the
you parenting the way that you're parenting? What is it really about for you?
I love the way you brought the question into the actual exercise. I feel
Yeah.
like I'm watching Inception right now. I feel like, is this a dream within a dream? This is a
Yes.
question within the
It's
question.
essential that you do this, parents, because your why, the more you understand it, the deeper this goes for you, the more necessity you can bring to every situation, and the better you're going to be able to be for your kids, which is why you're here.
Hitting the target right there. Okay, the other thing that I like to do is, and this comes from Simon Sinek. He's written some great books. I really like Leaders Eat Last. But the one that he kind of became well known for was Start with Why. And he has what he calls this golden circle. And I think this is a really great exercise to look at as a parent when you are trying to determine your purpose and you're trying to define this whole thing about necessity. Why do I need to be at my best? Who do I need to be for my kids, for my teens? And I actually went ahead and did a little pre-work on this, Nate, as far as you and I with this this whole project and our business venture together. And so this will be good for any new listeners too, because if you haven't listened to our early episodes, which I would encourage you to do, that's where we lay out our whole idea of what is this concept of stop parenting and start coaching? What does that really mean? But if you look at the golden circle, he has these 3 things that it starts with the why. That's the name of his book.
In the center.
Start with why, and then you move to the how, and then you move to the what. So if you compared and you can do this with your parenting, you can do this with your own business parents, you can do this with relationships. You really can apply it universally. But if we were applying it to us, our why is we have kind of a mission statement that we want to help thousands of parents to improve their connection and their relationship with their teen athletes and performers. And when that happens, we believe there will be a powerful ripple effect that goes to teens. We're former coaches, we're teachers, we're dads. We really want to help teens, and we want to throw a massive wide net out there and help as many people as we can. So that's the why. So then we get to, you have to get to the how, and this is like our process and our methods, which our process is based in high performance coaching. It is based in our process of using certain tools like the question only conversation, the QOC tool, and courses like our foundational course is the scoreboard course, helping people to define what success looks like. And so these are the hows. And then we get to the what, which really is the results. And the results for us, if we're making this work, it is the relationships and connections between the parent and teen massively improve. And as a result, both the performance of the parents and the performance of the teens, whether it's in their sports, their music, their school, their performance levels up too. So you've got this golden circle of the why, the how, and the what, but it starts with the why.
But it doesn't happen by default. Look at the way that society approaches this, the way that we all think about it. We all start with the what. And as parents, we do this. We think about the things that we want to do out here, the what we want to accomplish.
And then how do we do it?
How, but we rarely will push past that to the why. And one of the great ideas out of that book, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And so our kids are going to be way more likely to participate in some of the things that we want them to do, to interact, to choose as a teen to grow the relationship with their parents, if they understand why we do it. And if we tell them our why, this is where I kind of go countercultural, because a lot of times in parenting stuff, you hear them say, well, tell your kids why you do it. That's fine, but it often sets up a transaction. Well, I'm paying for all these things so you can do this.
Ooh, hey, let's get into this. I think this happens a lot.
This happens a ton.
Okay, I'm paying for, oh man, I'm remembering myself playing the piano. I did not like piano lessons. I wanted to go outside and shoot. I wanted to go outside and play football, ride my bike. So you're saying the parent is paying for piano lessons or paying for extra
hitting
batting
practice, pitching, coaching,
swing
AAU
coach,
tournaments. Yeah.
And they explain this why to their teen.
So the problem we run into with this, kids they're very in tune with these things, and they feel pressure, they feel obligation when they feel like the money is more important than them. And they actively this is, my son and I had great exchanges about this, because he would always talk about how he would feel bad because we were paying for golf tournaments, paying for him to do some of these things. He felt pressure to succeed because we're doing that. And I could tell him that's not why we're doing this, but it wouldn't help him to feel different. And as I got more into this, the research on this and learning about this thing, what I could have done a lot better is show up as a transformational parent.
So explain the difference here.
So
what's different from me explaining to him, hey,
we've talked about the transaction before.
We love you, and we want you to do well in these tournaments, and I'm willing to work extra or whatever, sacrifice so you have this.
The feeling's more important than what they hear. Do they feel that you love them, believe in them, that you're proud of them, and that you trust them? The feeling they get isn't going to come from me saying, hey, I believe in you. It's going to come more from the actions that I do that are driven by my why. I want my kid to grow and improve. I really, really want that. And so I might have some conversations with them about it. Look, they bring it up. Well, you're paying all this. I don't care about the money. I care about your growth and development. And if they feel the truth of those words, if they feel my why, if they feel why I'm really doing these things, it's going to hit them different. But it's so hard to get to that point with our kids because they're dealing with their own things as well. And this is why this is so messy. But if my why is to build a transformational relationship with my kid where I can do that, then I'm going to look at the way I talk to them. I'm going to take these things seriously. I'm going to look at it as essential that I dig into a topic like this and really understand myself, have high self-awareness, look at what I'm modeling for my kid, because it's my ability to generate the feeling that I believe in them, that I love them, and I'm proud of them. Because if I have to tell them, it's probably not sinking into them. And I can do this perfectly, and it still might not work. Because they're their own person, and they have their own choices, and they have their own issues and challenges. And that's part of why parenting is the hardest job, and there's not a close second.
That is what we call a pause for reflection and a pause for contemplation. That was extremely well said.
Thank you.
And I think two really practical things for our parents to do to move from this transactional parent to transformational. And by the way, if you've ever told your kids or scolded them that I love you and that's why I'm paying for these lessons, it's okay, right?
Yeah.
You can make a little U-turn and you can make an adjustment here. But if you go through the 3 levels, 4 levels, 5, 6, 7, shoot, maybe he'll send us a message and say, wow, we got to 11 levels deep.
Why?
Wow, say that a few times.
11 levels of why.
Just keep asking yourself why. You will really find some great insights. And then take Simon Sinek, start with why, and ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why do I want this? Then get to the how. That's the process. And then get to the what. What's the result? Let's start with the why.
Can I give one more challenge?
Yeah.
I think one of the greatest questions that you can ask your kid, why do you think I'm doing this? And then like fill in the blank, whatever this is. Why do you think I put you in piano lessons? Why do you think we have you do this with a swing coach or get these extra acting lessons? Whatever it is. Why do you think I do? And then listen to their response. And you don't have to do anything with it other than use it. Hear what they have to say about why you do the things.
I do have one caution about the 7 levels deep. You need to inform the person if you're going to keep doing the why. Because on the first, second, or third one, it's a little annoying.
Yeah.
Why are you asking me why? Anyway, lots of whys. Go make it happen, parents.
Nate Crandall and Steve Galley would like to thank you for tuning in to this episode. If you love what you're experiencing and learning from the Stop Parenting and Start Coaching podcast, please like, comment, and or leave a glowing review of this episode and the show. And to further help Nate and Steve expand their reach and impact thousands of parents, athletes, and performers, please share the show and subscribe to the Stop Parenting and Start Coaching podcast channel on YouTube. And if you want to explore further to see what Nate and Steve are creating to help parents of athletes and performers everywhere, please visit their website at createtransformbecome.com. That's createtransformbecome, all one word, .com. There you will find a growing number of tools and resources to help you elevate your parenting. Thanks again for tuning in. Now go create a magical relationship with your athlete or performer.